What is your most shameful sex/masturbation story?
I have epilepsy. One night I was going at it in my bed and lo and behold I have a seizure. So naturally my parents hear something and have to come into me seizing on the bed dick out porn on the computer. Very embarrassing to have to find out from them, since I lose a bit of memory of the event and am unconscious during it. All I can say is it must have been one hell of an orgasm to make me seize, more than the usual jerky coming movements anyway.
When I was like 13, my younger sister, 7 at the time, walked in on me and I threw my pants half on so fast when she looked at me with a face of what? I just said, "Whoa. You scared the pants right off me?" I will never forget this day. Honestly, I think it's one of my better moments.
When I was a kid, I stumbled upon one of those scrambled spice channels and saw some anal. Didn't realize you could stick stuff up there, so I had the bright idea of shoving one of those multicolored pens up my butt. Went so far, it got stuck, and I spent a good hour trying to push it out. Ended up getting small hemorrhoid that I have to this day. Doctor keeps telling me to eat more fiber, but I know the truth.
I was in the bathroom masturbating when suddenly I walked in on myself. Then I woke up and jizzed in my shorts. Most pathetic wet dream ever.
I was in an argument with my sister. I was aged somewhere between middle school and late teens. She is 3 years older. She started mocking me in the middle of the argument, and one of the things she did was imitate the deep sigh I would make when I finished masturbating. She didn't just imitate me, she said what it was. I had no idea anybody even heard me, and my bedroom shared a wall with my parents' room. She did this in front of at least one parent. ETA 1. Thank you for the awards. I'm a woman.
This happened when I was like 14. My friend was showing me some porn and we both got horny, so we went to lay on the floor on either side of his bed so we couldn't see each other and rubbed one out. Every time I think of this I want to gouge my eyes out. Oh, the cringe.
At the age of 12/13 I had a local paper round. Nothing too taxing, except for Sundays when the press barons of Fleet Street make a concerted effort to give every paper person in the country a hernia. Anyway, there was a flat on my round that regularly had Metal Hammer delivered. A metal magazine that often featured scantily clad ladies of a rock persuasion. Well, one day they were particularly scantily clad, and my teenage hormones couldn't take it. So I had a wank. I'd like to say I had the sense to at least hide in a bush. I'd really like to say that. But no, I just stood there, at 6:30 a.m. in the morning knocking one out in someone's front garden. I'm 45 now, and it still haunts me. Edit. Bugger, my most popular Reddit post ever is about me having a wank in a garden. And yes, I am British, what gave it away? Edit. Translation, TLDR, I jerked off in someone's front yard while on my paper route.
So I was at a hotel with my girlfriend that I had been with for a couple of weeks. We ate a ton of pizza and then had sex a while after. Halfway through sex I start to feel sick, so I leave to go to the bathroom. Instead of being sick I just fart really loudly for like a minute straight. I was mortified.
Me and my girlfriend at the time parked in a parking garage to spend some time in the backseat. We went twice, and just as we were about to go for round 3, there is a knock on the window. We don't know how long dude was standing there. We still laugh about this 10 years later.
When I was a teenager I did the deed in my bed, and when I finished it was so powerful that some of it hit me in the face. I cleaned everything up, wiped my face off, and moved on with my day. Later that day I had a haircut. I was sitting in the chair while my stylist cut my hair and she says, "Oh, it looks like you have some shampoo left in your hair from a shower earlier." I look in the mirror and she's pulling a chunk of cum out of my hair. I turned beet red, and while I don't think she ever figured out it wasn't shampoo, I just sat there mortified for the rest of the haircut.
Told this story before, but I once decided to masturbate before supper because I was a horny little teenager full of hormones. So, I closed my door and put on my headset. After I was done, I noticed I had a plate of hot food next to me on the desk. Apparently I had missed supper being ready and my dad had just walked in behind me and put the food on my desk while I was going at it. He never mentioned it and still haven't discussed it to this day. But in hindsight I really wasn't as subtle as I thought.
When I was in my teens, I masturbated constantly, at the drop of a hat. This wasn't limited to at home. If I was in an empty public bathroom, I'd often rub one out there, too. At 19, I had stopped at a gas station after a rough night at work. In the restroom, I decided to rub off some stress. So I rolled up a newspaper, squirted some hand soap generously into the tube, and went to town with my rudimentary fleshlight. Halfway through, my dick was burning. I looked down, to see blood staining the newspaper. Turns out, the liquid hand soap was by a brand called Lava. It had tiny particles of pumice stone in it. I had effectively rubbed little cuts and grooves in the skin of my dick, and basically turned it to hamburger. It took a couple of painful weeks to heal.
At a sleepover with a friend, he pulled out some nudie magazines he had. He was in a chair playing a video game and I was behind him on his bed jerking it because I'd never seen something so explicit. I was 12 or 13. I was convinced that he didn't know because I was trying to be stealthy, but he probably knew and was embarrassed or doing me a solid and looking the other way.
I masturbated in an elevator and the thing had a camera. My life hasn't been the same since then.
I was like 27 and driving my buddy's Datsun pickup back to Colorado from Illinois. Stopped for gas and bought some weird condom with like spikes on it. This was the 80s when bowling alleys, gas station bathrooms and bars all had rubber dispensing machines. So driving across Nebraska, I got pretty bored and started wondering about it. I opened the package to look at it. One thing led to another and well, you know. So when I'm done, I throw the thing out the window in disgust and shame and continue with the drive. I stop again for gas about 500 miles later and to my horror notice that the bright yellow spiked condom with a load of jizz oozing out of it has welded itself to the side of the truck and been flapping in the wind the whole time. It's like organic epoxy or something.
In a rest stop bathroom in West Virginia.
I was around 13. My room doors were on the right side of my table and they would open with back facing the table. My father knocks. I put something over my crotch fast. He opens the door. I only manage to pause the video and take off headphones. Then we have a dialogue. Hey Dad. Hey, you have to do the dishes. Yee, okay, will do. Okay, don't forget. He proceeds to close the door. Things like that happen multiple times. Now I know that he always knew, as my room probably smelled like cum.
So I sometimes get sleep paralysis, especially if woken up suddenly. At my old work there was a break room with a couch that became the nap room for late swing and grave shift. I was napping in there one night and it was cold, so I was curled up facing the back and had my hands between my thighs. After some time one of my coworkers came in, older, very religious woman. I heard the door open and instantly woke up. I tried to move but found I couldn't at first. As I tried, the paralysis started clearing, but it was a few seconds before I could do more than rock back and forth, with my back turned, and my hands between my legs. She exclaimed, "Oh. Oh my," stammered an apology and quickly closed the door, and never made eye contact with me again.
I masturbated to a guy beep a little person, throwing them around, putting them in unconventional position, and I'm pretty sure they did a helicopter at one point. After I finished, I didn't watch porn for a few days.
I was jerking off when my mom bust into my room to tell me my cat was dead. Skull.
I have one for mine and my husband. For me, I wasn't actually masturbating, but when I was a teen, there were these herbal essence commercials where the women would scream out like they're having orgasms while washing their hair. I asked my older cousin why they do that. I'm not sure if he was playing a joke, or just didn't know and was improvising. Both are plausible for him. He told me the yelling helped circulate the blood in my scalp, so the shampoo worked better. As you'd imagine, I have a shower with said shampoo, and start screaming like the ladies in the commercial. I didn't notice a difference in my hair, but thought maybe it was a repetition thing. Shortly after, my dad called the house from his garage/man cave, clearly trying to hold in laughter, and said, "I just wanted to make sure you knew Jeff and I are out here." I answered, "Oh nice," completely oblivious to the fact he was warning me, and that he and his friend heard me screaming like I'm having the best orgasm of my life. He actually still doesn't know the details, lol. I told my sister and my mom very recently though. They howled for like 2 hours straight. As for my husband, I always noticed he had this scar along the shaft of his penis. It never bothered me and I always thought it was interesting. Once we were comfortable enough to ask about that kind of thing, I inquired about it. He told me when he was much younger, he realized the pleasures of a jetted bathtub. One day he inserted his penis into one of the jets, allowing the water pressure to do its work. He admitted it felt amazing at first until the water stream caught under his foreskin and literally blew up his penis like a balloon. Lol. No long-lasting damage, Besides the intriguing scar, but holy beep has such a champ for laughing along with me lol. I think he was just relieved he got to share the story with someone XD.
I remember being little and realizing if I sat a certain way on a chair and moved around it felt really good. I was really young, pre-puberty. Didn't know what sex was really. I was in class doing that and a teacher asked me if I needed to use the bathroom. I think back on it now and I'm so embarrassed.
Best friend's family just got a sick brand new computer setup. Beautiful entertainment center and brand new comfy computer chair. He had internet, I didn't. We waited till his parents went to bed. He snuck out and did his thing, and came back into his room and signaled it was my turn. I snuck to the bathroom, rolled up some tissue so I'm well prepared. Did my thing, and then realized I missed the tissue. Stood up and checked my trousers, nothing. Checked the floor, nothing. Half a bucket of cum chilling on this nice fabric of the computer chair. The worst part was I had to sneak back in, wake my friend up and break the bad news to him. I still remember the two of us scrubbing the hell out of that chair, and I don't remember the lie we told his parents in the morning about the chair being soaked. But that's how the chair got the name computer chair.
I masturbated in the church bathroom.
This just happened a few weeks ago. Wife went out to the store and I had the house to myself, so, naturally it was time to masturbate with reckless abandon. Unfortunately she came home and heard me. I'm rather vocal. She didn't want to startle me so she didn't say anything. A couple minutes later, still not realizing she was home, I hear from downstairs, "Do you feel better?" I was like, "What do you mean?" "You know what I mean." I shrank into a singularity of shame and embarrassment. We had a good laugh about it later.
OMFG. As a teen I would call those hotlines, get dudes' numbers and have a ton of phone sex. Like constantly. For some girls too. Anywho, this one night I thought my dad was at work and was like, hell yeah, now I can be as loud as I want because I have the house to myself. So I'm into it. Being loud as beep, like leg up on the wall straight, going to pound town on myself with some guy on the phone giving an equal performance. When it grinds to a horrifying halt because there's a bang on my door. It's my dad who was at dinner and now thinks there's someone in the room with me. He tells, get decent. Because I'm coming in 5. 1. He throws open my door, I'm in bed alone. He opens the closet. Looks at the windows. Fast as he can, then goes, are you on the beep phone? It's that why the phone bill is so goddamned high? For beep's sake, put your leg down, was the last thing he said leaving the room. I still had my leg up on the wall, FML, thank God I was under a blanket, but still. Bloody humiliating. Did not change my hobby though. Haha, shameless.
Don't know what I was thinking. Rubbed one off in class under the table. To this day I swear to God I've no idea how no one noticed. Unless they did and spared me the mortification. To them I shall always salute in gratitude.
Back when I lived in a shared flat, I was polishing the family jewels and my flatmate walked into my room without knocking. Grabbed her book, walked out and didn't say anything. I was just not sexually attractive for her.
One word classroom edit, forgot to mention it was in religious education.
I had sex with the bishop's daughter in the church's mother's lounge. A young girl walked in on us and ran away really fast. Yes, there were some consequences. Edit for clarification. Mormon church, bishop was just some dude from the neighborhood that was an electrician by day. I wasn't a priest, just a 15-year-old horny boy getting together with his 16-year-old daughter on a Thursday youth night. We at least sneaked off to the dark wing of the church. We thought nobody was going to find us.
Neither sex nor masturbating. It was late at night, like 11:30-ish, and I was 15, mid-2000s. I was reading a book in my room and it was a hot night. So, I decided to get butt naked. To get more of a breeze to my nethers, I lifted my leg up and put a foot up high on my bookshelf next to the bed. My parents were normally courteous and would knock before entering, but without warning my dad burst into the room. He stared at me, lying there with my balls faced directly at him, legs akimbo like a sign. My dad told me that my nan had had a brain hemorrhage earlier in the evening and that she wasn't going to make it. He asked me to put my book down, put some pants on and meet him downstairs to go to the hospital. I closed my legs and obliged.
Emotionally abusive and manipulative ex really wanted to go without a condom. I refused, so she made me use a sandwich baggie instead. One of my life's biggest regrets.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.